Welcome into this week's edition of the Co-Lin Coaches Show. We're going to have a little bit of an extended one after we had to take a little bit of a break due to some traveling issues and scheduling issues, but we're back and we're going to talk about the last three previous sets of matches. Joining me now is our head men's and women's soccer coach, Tom Cosgrave. Tom, thanks for joining me as always.
Thanks for having me.
And Tom, again, like I just said, we'll go back to all the way back to last Friday, I believe it was. We hosted Northwest for the girls and the guys. Again, that girls in that stretch of three straight ranked matches. Their girls, lost 2-0, but I think in that one you don't feel bad about that result because at that point they were ranked top team in the nation. And, I've told people I think that might be the best defensive effort I've seen out of the Lady Wolves in the 3 years I've been here.
Yeah, it was excellent. Yeah, we were proud of the girls, especially keeping a team that good with that much firepower going forward to keep it to 0-0 for 65 minutes. So we were proud of the effort, and girls were really resilient in that game, and it was nice to see.
As you mentioned, it was 0-0 at halftime. You give up those two goals late, and, the first one kind of just a little bit of a deflection. I told people, I said, realistically, I feel like it probably should have at least been 1-0 because the second goal you give up just a world-class goal. But despite all that, you look at the box score, and I think the number that really pops out at you is what Laura Dorfel did. Laura had a career-high 20 saves in that match, so really did a great job of keeping you in it throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, we spoke to the girl. We had a game plan going in. Obviously, goal differential when it comes down to these tight games at the end of the year for playoffs and everything make a big difference. And so we told them to try and keep it as little as possible. And then if it was still 1-0 or 0-0 at the end of the game, we can push forward and open up a little bit. But our game plan was to try and let them to shoot from distance and frustrate them, which they ended up shooting quite a lot of shots from distance, and that's perfect for Laura. She does a great job when the balls are coming in from a further distance.
So we'll go on to the next one. Another ranked matchup. You played Pearl River. And you dropped that one 2-0 as well too. But again, I think another strong defensive effort. You gave up two really great goals. If you're gonna give up goals, at least you gave up two goals that were pretty and would have been hard for anybody to save. But you're down 1-0 at halftime. What's the message to the girls at halftime, knowing it's still within striking distance?
Yeah, we told them to just stay in the game, stay concentrated. We told them you can't switch off at any point in this league. You have to make sure you're concentrating the whole time. And at 1-0, we said if we can keep it as long as possible as we can at 1-0, similar to what our game plan was against Northwest at the end, we'll try and push for it and open up a little bit. But unfortunately, they got another second goal that just kind of killed us off. But again, similar to what you said before, great defensive effort from the girls. Proud of the way they fought for each other.
And another game, 2 straight games, Laura, where she had double-digit saves, ended up with 12, finished with 32 for the week. So a really great week for Laura in goal. So we'll go to last night's game or Tuesday night's game against East Central. You go into that one knowing all you have to do is get a result. You just got to get a win or a tie, and you're where you want to be. You're in the postseason. What's the message before the game to the girls, knowing that's all you got to do is just don't lose?
Yeah, we wanted to focus a little bit more on the performance than we did with the result. We wanted to go out and get the win and have a positive performance going into playoffs after a tough stretch of games. And so we set up like we normally would and tried to get the win and came out really strong in the first half. And then was hanging on a little bit there towards the end. But again, I think it helped us out having played 3 tough games in the last few games. That our defensive performance, we were able to shut them out in the last few minutes to make sure that we got the tie.
And you take an early lead, you get a goal. Avery Rankin gets a goal on an assist from Chloe Nash on a ball that, if people were there and they were watching at home, you go, it wasn't the prettiest goal in the world, but hey, a goal's a goal. Talk about the goal.
Yeah, so Avery's been struggling a little bit with injuries, and so she's kind of been a little timid the last couple of games. And we told her, we're like, look, anytime that you get an opportunity, especially when we're going at their place, we just got to make it count. And that's what the message has been to our front three. We need them to step up and start scoring goals, and you can't score goals if you don't shoot. So we've been trying to harp onto them about scoring and shooting as much as possible. And I think that was in the back of her mind because it came to her and she hit it first time and it went straight over the keeper's head. And it's one of those that we'll take on any game day whenever you need a point and I need a goal.
So you're up 1-0 at halftime, and as we alluded to just earlier, you give up the goal. I think it was with under 10 minutes to play, but despite that, I think the thing that you like to see the most is the next time you touch the ball, almost went back and retook the lead. So, the girls definitely bounced back very well.
Yeah, we talked to them about the 5 minutes. 5 minutes either side of a goal is the most important because it can make or break a game in terms of momentum. And so we say, if a team scores against us in the next 5 minutes, we've got to make sure that we stay switched on. And that's actually the easiest time to score a goal because they're still quite on an emotional high. So we want to try and get at them whilst they've got the adrenaline pumping and possibly making a mistake, which the girls did a good job of. We almost scored straight away, but then defensively did a great job to shut the game out.
So you're able to finish with the 1-1 tie, and as we alluded to earlier, that does get you into the postseason there. We'll talk about that matchup in just a few minutes. You'll finish. You get in as the 7th seed, but again, the goal was to make the postseason, and now that's back-to-back postseason appearances for the Lady Wolves. Just talk about how big that is for the program going forward.
Yeah, it's massive. Obviously, kind of being with the newcomers to the group, along with East Mississippi, in terms of where the program started just a few years ago, and to get from where we were to where we are now, it's a massive achievement. Which credit to the coaching staff and the players as well. And I think the type of players that we're bringing in and we're recruiting, we're not just bringing in high quality players, we're bringing in high quality people as well. And I think that says a lot about what we're trying to do with our program and where we're going with the culture for the program. So it was nice to see.
We'd be remiss if we didn't also mention, Laura had 4 saves in that game. That brought her up to 100 for the season. A great mark for a goalie, making her first full season here in the States and in this conference. 100 saves in a year. Maybe not something you want to see as a coach, but hey, 100 saves is great.
Yeah, it's always tough coming over as an international and then kind of getting thrown in. You don't get much time to adjust. You come over to a new country, a new culture, new everything, and then you've got 3 weeks basically to get ready for the season. So as the season's gone on, she's progressed and developed more and more, and every game she gets more confident as well and starts to understand what her role is. And yeah, she's had a great first season, so we're excited for her future.
And we do know who is coming up next after everything I think has officially finally been decided and all. We thought it was going to be one team last night, found out this morning it's a different team. Going to have to go and make that trip up to Senatobia. Play a team you just saw a couple of weeks ago, Northwest. Play that one on Saturday at 2. Again, a team that has taken a loss here within the last couple of weeks. But what are you expecting out of that group when we go up there on Saturday?
I always say everything. I always say this: anytime when you get to a playoffs, anything can happen. On any given day, any team can beat anyone because it's just it's a one game. You can kind of give it all you've got. You don't have to save anything in the tank for a game coming up or out like that. You can give it 100% effort. So we're going to go there. We're going to take the game to them and hopefully get the result. And then who knows what's going to happen from there.
So hoping for the best there for the Lady Wolves. We'll be there for that one as well this upcoming Saturday in Senatobia. We'll switch over to the guys now. We'll go back and again, guys faced a Northwest team, and you really saw. I think this was another game where Alfie just really made his presence felt. You win 6-1, and it really all started with Alfie. Talk about how Alfie and the team played in that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of the boys look up to him in terms of our attacking threat. If he starts the game strong and he's confident and he's kind of got that buzz around, then it instills that in the other players as well. And some of the other boys start to feel confident and go, and that's whenever we're best going forward. So that's what we talked to them about the Northwest game. We wanted to start the game strong, start the game quick, especially after they've had a long bus ride down. We want to get at them whilst they've still got that lethargicness inside. And we did exactly that, which was nice to see. And then we just fed off that throughout the game. And
Alfie got the scoring started early. Scores one in the 4th minute, a ball that just kind of ricocheted in the box, found his way at his feet. Talk about the goal. Talk about just how it was able to kind of set the tone for you.
Yeah, we put them under pressure from the very beginning. We were trying to make
Gomalu scores his first ever goal at Stone Stadium, only the 2nd goal of his career. Both of them happened this year, but finishes he got a double header there on that one. Got a little bit of an initial header and then finished it off on the throw from Javion there in the 11th minute. And we'll talk about that one and this next one kind of back to back because the next one was Alfie getting his 2nd goal on just a world-class goal, I thought. He got a little assist from Hayden, was able to dribble it to the top of the box, finish top right corner. Talk about both of those goals and how it just really continued to set the tone and really kind of made the difference for you.
Yeah, the 2nd goal really kind of shut them down. You could see it was they started to realise that it was going to be an uphill battle from there, being 2-0 down away from home against the firepower that we've got going forward. I just went to the back post and Dylan was there in the right spot at the right time. I think he was a bit shocked that he came to him, but luckily he finished it off and got the goal. And then 3rd one, just continuing to what Alfie's been doing over the last few weeks. Just a great ball to him, beat his guy, cut inside, and then once he's got time and space, you're putting your money on him to score the goal there.
And then the last goal in that first half, you think you're going to go in 3-0, and for a second it looked like it was going to be 3-1 because we all thought Northwest had scored. Goal was disallowed. I'm not sure if it was an offsides or a foul, but either way, the goal is disallowed, and really the guys continue to battle. And MT Michael Turner has a ball just kind of fall to his feet, and I think he just thought, well, I'll just play it down there and see what happened. It caught the foot of Alfie, and Alfie just finishes it again, goes cross box and finishes it in the top right corner. It gives you 4-0 with less than 20 seconds left. Talk about the goal and just how much that really kind of felt like it sealed everything for you.
Yeah, MT found a good little pocket of space. He's really good at doing that. Ended up getting on the ball, playing a good through ball to Alfie, who beat his guy 1v1 again, and then just smashed it top corner, his signature finish into the far post. It was a great finish, and I think that was it. That took the wind out their sails, and then they were done from there. I think they realised that there was no coming back.
So you're up 4-0 at halftime. Northwest did score one in the 65th minute, but I think what you like to see is the guys continued to battle, continue to respond. You get two more. We'll talk about both of them. They happen pretty quick within each other. 79th minute, Benji Hernandez has one just kind of fall at his feet. Alfie gets the assist on it. So if you're keeping up with things during this, that's 3 goals and an assist for Alfie in one game. A great game out of him, but one that just I think he just kind of played it to see what would happen. Again, just taking a chance, and it worked out for you. Talk about the goal.
Yeah, we don't usually pay Benji up there, but it was his birthday, and at that time I was like, you know what, we'll see if we can get him a little birthday goal. And so he ended up going up front on the left wing, and I think Alfie just hit a long ball just to kind of relieve a little bit of pressure for a second. And there was a bit of miscommunication at the back from Northwest. The goalkeeper and the defenders didn't know who was going for it, and I think Benji couldn't realize how lucky he was to just get there, and he just tapped it in first time and got his goal.
So you're up 5-1, and then the last goal there, it's Connor Turner, and someone we haven't talked about scoring a goal yet because it was his first career goal ever. He finishes with a header off a free kick from Sebastian Narvaez in the 81st minute. I think it was just a really pretty goal. Talk about the goal.
Yeah, those two, they've grew up together. They've been playing club soccer and high school soccer for years, and so they've got a good connection. We've been trying to wait for that connection all season. We keep telling Seabass to try and find Connor because he's great in the air. And so he ended up making a good run across his defender for the free kick. It was a great ball in by Seabass and well finished off there by Connor. And hopefully that's a sign of what's to come in the future, Seabass to Connor on set pieces.
And in that match, Leo had 3 saves, saved 3 out of the 4 shots he faced on goal. So a solid match from him. I'm sure he would have loved to have had the clean sheet, but you take the win anyway, you can get them. We go to the next game against Pearl River, and this one you lose 3-1, and you kind of... He's a little disappointed with that result, I think, because you cut it down at one point to where it's manageable, but unfortunately they responded real quick. Talk about how the guys played in that one.
Yeah, that was a tough one. We were really frustrated as a coaching staff for that result because, I thought they played well in the first half to go 2-0 up, but then we responded really well in the second half, got it back to 2-1. We had them. We hit the crossbar off the header. We had a couple of chances, and we could see that the game was swinging, and we thought we were going to get the second goal, and then... it wasn't the best officiating crew that we've ever had, but we talked to the boys about that's part of it. That's stuff that you can't control. You've just got to make sure that you can focus on what you can do, control your emotions in the moment. And unfortunately, at that time, we let our emotions get the better of us, and we started to lose sight of what the bigger picture was and what we were doing on the field. And unfortunately, it's come back to bite us there, and that's when they ended up finishing it off to get 3-1.
So as you mentioned, down 2-0. Wildcats scored 2 in the first half, and then we cut it down. Connor Turner, again, name we haven't talked about all year, he scores another goal, gets his first 2 career goals. Like you said, just found the back of the net, really the side of the net with the back of his head off that play. And again, 2-1 in the 65th minute, but unfortunately you give up the third goal there in the 67th. Again, another one, though, where Leo Summers, again, made 8 saves. So he saved 8 of 12 shots. He still saved 75% of the shots that he faced. So in a week where he saved 75% of all the shots he faced, you go 1-1. Talk about how well Leo has played all year. Even though the results haven't been there, Leo's been solid in goal for most of the year for you.
Yeah, it's been a little bit frustrating on that side of things because he's been playing well, but we just haven't been getting clean sheets as much as we want to, especially from last year compared to this year. We did really well defensively this year. We've leaked quite a few goals, so hopefully we can start to solidify that as we start moving forward. But yeah, he's been coming up big with us for some massive saves when we need him and keeping us in the game. So that's part of it. That's the sign of a good goalkeeper. And
unfortunately, the game on Tuesday night against East Central, it just belonged to the Warriors. We talked about it before the show started. 1-0 at halftime, and you're feeling okay. Y'all had, the team had some chances, just couldn't find the back of the net, and you're thinking down 1-0 at halftime, the game's still in reach. What's the message to the guys at halftime?
Yeah, I actually thought we were the better team in the first half. I told the boys that at halftime. We let up a sloppy goal, but other than that, our pressing was good. We were playing through the lines well. We just had to fix a few things tactically going into the second half to make sure that we could execute our game plan a little bit better. But I thought, I was confident at 1-0 down that we were going to come back and win the game. But unfortunately, second half, we just switched off. And, as you've seen in this league, anybody can beat anybody on their day and you can't switch off at any point. And it was just, it was one of those days where just nothing was going right and we were just really poor in the second half.
Unfortunately, a 5-goal second half for the Warriors. That's how we get to 6-0 in that loss. Close out the regular season with a loss, but the good news is you still get to keep playing because you did qualify for the postseason. Same thing with the Lady Wolves. Wolves make the postseason in back-to-back seasons, and it's just the 4th season that soccer's been back. Again, just talk about how big that is for the guys' side of the program as well, too.
Yeah, that's massive, especially, with the boys' side as well. The competition is really high, 1 through 11 on both sides. Anybody can get into the playoffs. And so it's just really important that you take care of business and make sure you win the games that you need to, which, this year I think has been a little bit of a struggle on the boys' side. But I've been saying to them all year, once you get into the playoffs, it's anybody's game. If we win on Friday, then confidence-wise, that's going to be massive for us knocking out one of the top contenders. So we just got to make sure we get there now. Now we just take care of business on Friday.
And we'll talk about that opponent that's coming up on Friday, a team that we're quite familiar with. It's going to be the Bobcats of Jones. We're going to have to go down there on Friday. We'll play at 7. A team that, we played early in conference play, so I think we're playing a little bit different style, maybe a little bit better than when we played them early in the conference play. But talk about what you know about the Bobcats and what they're going to bring to the table.
They're always going to bring you high energy, high pressing. They're going to make it difficult for you, and especially on a Friday night game in Jones, it's going to be a difficult place to go. But we're excited about the challenge because I feel like last time when we played them, we didn't get a fair challenge just because of some discipline issues with getting the red card and not having 11 players for the majority of the game. So yeah, I'm excited. That's part of being a coach, wanting to play these best teams. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So looking forward to Friday's game.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up the soccer portion of our show. Again, Coach, thanks for joining me. Lady Wolves will be on the road on Saturday to face off against the Lady Rangers of Senatobia, and then the Wolves will face off against the Bobcats of Jones on Friday in the first round of the playoffs. We'll send all those links out to you on social media. Stick through the break with us. We'll talk to head football coach Glenn Davis about the Wolves win against the Wildcats and about the upcoming homecoming game against the Warriors of East Central. Welcome back in. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. Joining me now is head football coach Glenn Davis. Coach, thanks for joining me as always.
Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
And Coach, obviously coming off the heels of a huge win, I should say. I'll get my words right here in a second, I promise. But you beat the Wildcats 33-9, a team that, again, despite the fact they haven't lost a game, they've been very much in a lot of their games. But talk about how the guys played.
Well, we didn't play very well the first half. I didn't think there was, we're in a funk or something, and I thought they really responded the second half, and I guess coming off the Gulf Coast game, we just weren't into it as mentally as we should have been. But like I said, the second half, I thought they played really well.
Coach, obviously, we'll start like we always do. We'll talk about some impact players. We'll start with the quarterback again. Devon, another game where the numbers may not necessarily jump out at you. 10 for 16, 142 yards with a touchdown, 5 carries, 24 yards. But I thought he was very efficient when you needed him to be, despite some struggles in the early part of the game.
He was. I mean, the first half, we only had the ball 14 plays. And so, that's has a direct reflect on all of their stats. When you only have it 14 times, plays to run, and so I mean that was big for their part. They controlled the football, kept it away from us, and snapped the ball when there's 1 or 2 seconds left on the clock, and so that was their game plan, was to shorten the game. And but I thought they played really well the second half. And
again, running back Johnny Daniels had 102 all-purpose yards, just missed a 100-yard rushing game by 1 yard, had 14 carries, 99 yards, 1 touchdown. We'll talk about the big touchdown run later, but another really solid game from Johnny.
It was. I mean, I think it was a 53 or 54-yard run, and he showed, I think he's showing recruiters that, he's when he gets in space that he can score from distance. And, those are things that we've talked about in our one-on-one stuff that we've talked about recruiting is that these are things that we're going to help him get recruited down the road, I think.
And another guy, I feel like we talk about him every week again. Numbers don't jump out at you. He 5 receptions a game. This one he only had 2. It was Jalen Smith, 2 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown, a big touchdown in that third quarter there. But again, just solid game from Jalen.
Yeah, I mean Jalen's played well just about every week, and like I say, we've didn't have as many opportunities to get the ball to him, and but those 2 catches he made, especially the one for a touchdown, was mighty big.
And again, defensive unit. You look around the box scores every week, and I don't know if there's an individual who just jumps out at you every week as one that just leagues above all the rest of them. They just play great as a group. This week, 8 tackles for loss, including 2 sacks and an interception, and pitched a 3-quarter shutout. Didn't let the Wildcats score again after the first quarter. Talk about how well the defense played.
They played really well. The second half, I was really, really pleased with them. The first half, there were some spots where we had 2 11-play drives that, defensively we wished we, hadn't had those. But in the touchdown in the first quarter, but other than that, I thought they tackled really well the second half, and I thought they got off blocks. They did what they had been coached to do, and that was mighty big, and I think it really showed the second half.
I think the 3 guys who stood out the most to me were probably the 3 we called the most. Jerron Manning led the unit again. 3rd week in a row he's led the team. He had 9 tackles. And Caden Dukes, your other defensive back, finished just behind him, 8 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss and a sack. Talk about how big those 2 DBs played for you.
Oh, I mean, I thought Caden did a great job the second half of setting the edge on our defense and actually made a lot of plays setting the edge. And in the first half, we didn't get that as much, but Jerron did a great job with fitting. I think he had the pass breakup or interception. I mean, he's played really well the last 3 weeks, and we just need him to keep playing that way down the road. And
another name we've talked a lot about, he really feels like he's one of the premier pass rushers in the league. Billy Pullen, another 6 tackles for him, and including another sack. I think he's leading the conference, or he's second in conference in sacks. And again, it just feels like the only way people can stop him is they hold on for dear life and hope they don't get a penalty called against them.
Yeah, I mean, Billy does a great job. He plays so hard, and to me, that's what sets him apart from a lot of defensive players or defensive lineman, and is it just how hard he plays, and his motor continuously goes, and he's a big leader on our football team because of that, and I think he kind of sets the example of how we're supposed to play defensively.
And we'll go ahead and get into the scoring. No scoring done by your team in the first quarter. It really kind of felt like it was one of those slow start kind of games, not what you wanted to see. And the Wildcats get on the board first. You had a safety. You get backed up into your own end zone. The snap goes over Brandon Gillum's head. Then despite that, I thought he had a great game as well, too. And then they really kind of carried that momentum, and that's when they scored the touchdown. So you're in a 9-0 hole after the first quarter. What's your message to the team after that first quarter?
Well, I mean, we kept telling them that we need to get woke up and start playing, and that I don't think that really resonated until we got in at halftime, and we had some pretty good conversations at halftime. So the kids responded from that point, and I think we scored the first 2 drives of the second half, and I think that's what kind of separated us from them in the game, is those 2 drives.
Right. And in the first, before halftime, you do get on the board. The second quarter, you get a 54-yard rush from Johnny Daniels. To quote some old sportscasters, he went rumbling, bumbling into the end zone. I don't think he had to break many tackles, but he kind of bounced off some guys. That capped off a 4-play, 82-yard drive. You're trailing 9-7 with about 12 minutes left. Talk about the run there and just kind of how it was able to start setting the momentum and
I think
for your team.
It kind of set our team, like you say, set us in position for halftime. We'd love to score it again before half, but it didn't work out that way. But Johnny's run, we'd worked hard on running the stretch play all week, and he was able to do that, and then cut inside and then bounce back outside and then just outrun their secondary.
And then you come out in the third quarter, you get the opening possession, guys really just kind of marched down the field. It looked like what what I think a lot of people thought the whole game was going to look like. That was a 4-play, 65-yard drive. It was capped off by Jalen Smith's touchdown drive, a little 32-yard pass. I think y'all had him on like a post in the middle, and Devon hit him, and he just outran everybody. And the play, I also want to talk about the 32-yard reception by Carlos Martin before that. You got 64 yards through the air. Just talk about that drive and talk about kind of, at that point, you kind of felt like we took all the momentum.
Well, Carlos's catch was a third down play, and it was a catch to keep the drive going. It was 3rd and 9, I think, and he catches a little short of the first down marker, and he makes a guy miss, and then then 32 yards later, he's tackled, and then Jalen's was a dig route that we had worked on hard on. Devon's feels really good throwing in breaking routes, and so we kind of worked hard on that during the week, and Jalen caught the ball and he just outran their guys in the secondary.
And then the successful PAT by Brandon there gives you a 14-9 lead, and at that point, like I said, you never gave the lead back, so you kind of feel good about the fact that once you got the lead, it kind of felt like you never really were in danger. You turn around and you get you increase the lead on the next possession for the Wildcats because they hand you a safety. I jokingly told the Pearl River SID, I said, I haven't had to input a safety in 3 years of being here, and I had 2 in one game that we had to input. But a play that the snap goes over the punter's head and he has to kick it out of the back of the end zone. So now you're up by a touchdown, and you've got to be feeling good going forward now that you kind of got that touchdown lead and you get some more separation.
Well, I mean, it was big. I mean, we felt like that there were some things that we could do in the kicking game, and we thought we could return kicks and wound up getting points off of a bad snap. And bad snaps happen sometimes. You just don't want them to happen to your team. So.
And then obviously you take that momentum, you get the ball back the next play, you score again, this time in the running game, but this time it's Trey Minor who, again, not having a lot of carries, made the most of them. He got a 5-yard rushing touchdown, ended a 5-play, 45-yard drive, and the PAT extended the lead to 23-9. Talk about that drive, talk about the run by Minor.
Well, it was big to get the short field. We had a really good kickoff return that got us past midfield because they were kicking from, after a safety. So that was big to get us jump started on a short field, and and like I say, just the opening 2 drives of the second half were really big as far as us, getting momentum and putting points on the board.
And then you'll end the scoring in the third quarter. Brandon Gillum gets a 36-yard field goal, and I think this game you kind of saw him kind of round back into form. You kind of saw the kicking unit itself kind of round back to what we saw earlier in the year, and that's got to feel good going into the last half of the year.
It really does. He was really, really confident early in the year, and kind of had a couple bad things happen to him with losing our snapper and that kind of stuff, and so I think he's kind of gotten back comfortable with our guys now, and like I say, we need him to be as confident as he possibly can be here on down the stretch. And
you go into the fourth quarter. Pearl River has the ball to end the third quarter. Right at the start of the fourth quarter, you get a big interception. It was Elijah Short, and a ball that he just floated into the end zone. He was able to kind of run under it. It looked like he was more the intended receiver than the receiver for the Wildcats, but that turns around, gives you the ball right there on the 20. Just talk about how that really seemed to really seal it and take the wind out of the sails for the Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get turnovers and defensively and stop drives, and I think they were throwing a corner route, and like I said, it looked like he was running the corner instead of the receiver, and was able to make a good play on it.
You turn around on the next drive, you score on that one. It's the final touchdown, and probably the wackiest scoring play we've had all year. It was a 9-play, 80-yard drive, but it was capped off. Devon threw a pass to Tyler Fortenberry, the tight end. Tyler took a real hard hit. The ball popped free on about the 25-yard line, squibbed down to about the 22, and Ryan James runs on it. I thought he was just going to fall on it at first, but he picks it up and squirrels around a couple of guys and is able to find the end zone. Just talk about that play and just the zaniness of it, it felt like.
Yeah, it was a naked pass play that we have off one of our running plays, and we hit Tyler in the flat, and like I say, he gets hit and fumbles. Orion picks it up, and Carlos Martin throws a really big block to spring Orion for a touchdown, And like I say, it was just a crazy play.
And so a final successful PAT by Gillum makes it 33-9. You've got 7.5 minutes left. The Wildcats get the ball back a couple of times. They only get 15 yards on the drive. You're able to run out the clock, and you go away with a 33-9 win. And you've really kind of positioned yourself well for a potential postseason run now. Just talk about the feeling going into these final two games.
Well, I mean, the big game is this week, East Central. So, we've got to go in and play our best there. They're an improving football team, and Coach Webster's done a great job with his guys of, giving people fits. They've been in every ball game they've played, and they've played extremely hard. So we're going to have to play our best, and that's kind of where our concentration's on right now is this game, because it doesn't matter what happens down the road if we don't take care of this one.
And as Coach alluded to, next game will be on Thursday against the Warriors of East Central. It'll be homecoming for the Wolves. It'll also be sophomore day for the Wolves football team, cheerleaders, student athletic trainers, and I believe we'll be celebrating the band as well too. So a big day for athletics for the Wolves, and just a big day on campus in general. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to having all of you on campus for the activities as well too. Coach, thanks for joining me as always. That'll wrap it up. Again, just a brief recap of all the upcoming action. It'll start with Thursday, homecoming for the football team. The Wolves will face off against the Warriors. Men's soccer will be on the road for the first round of the playoffs at Jones on Friday at 7. And then the Lady Wolves will face off against the Lady Rangers in Senatobia on Saturday at 2. I'm Kevin Kaiser, Sports Information Coordinator here at Co-Lin. Thanks for tuning in to this week's show, and we'll talk to you next week.